Hello everyone, so I finished my playthrough of Metal Hellsinger. I played this on PC through Xbox Game Pass, and it took me only about 3.5, 4 hours long to get through the main campaign of this. You definitely spend a lot more time if you want to focus on getting the highest score you possibly can, exploring the maps, a lot more, finding totems, things like that. But this game is available on Steam, which is about, I think it's like $35, or again, you can get it with your Xbox Game Pass subscription. But yes, without further ado, let me get into my review for Metal Hellsinger. So this game is like a Doom style rhythmic first-person shooter game where you play as someone known as the Unknown. You fight your way through hell and onslaughts of demons while basically the devil is trying to stop you from retaking your voice. You find out earlier that the Unknown once had an amazing voice and loved singing her songs, but that was stripped from her from, again, just the ruler of hell. And now, after years and years, thousands of years really, of being locked up in prison, you're back to take your vengeance, and you do so with a really cool arsenal of weapons, which can range from crossbows to little, basically like boomerang knives, and a whole bunch of guns, pistols, shotguns that you kind of fine tailor for each level that you go through, depending again on your playstyle, what's working for you. It does really let you customize your arsenal based off of what you like the most. I found that I was bringing the dual revolvers and basically the boomerang knives the entire time because I just found they had really good abilities, and you do more damage as you're on rhythm with the music that is playing in the background of this game. And the music is something really, really cool because each track is specifically created for each level and has vocals from a ton of metal icons from bands like System of a Down, Trivium, Soilwork, Ginger. So you have Serge Constant, Matt Heffy, the main singer from Refused is in this as well. It has a really, really awesome soundtrack with a bunch of really talented, again, just two metal artists. And yeah, it's just the more you are on beat with the music that's playing on in the background, the more damage you're going to be doing. No matter which, of course, weapon that you're using. And each weapon will have like its basic fire or slash mode, depending on, again, what type of weapon you're using. But once you build up a certain meter, there's a special attack that will be able to, again, just that is attributed with the weapon that you're using. So with the pistols, you basically spawn a replicate of you who will also do damage and shoots at the enemies that you're doing. The boomerang blades will basically just circle around you almost like a tornado, so anything that gets close to you will just rip it apart. So it's really good to use that and run into big hordes of enemies. If you find yourself in a situation like that, the sword itself, you just go crazy fast hack and slash, and you get a speed boost too, so you're just unstoppable for about 10 seconds. And it's really, really fun to, again, just play with the arsenal in this game, and it's so slick, the gameplay. I had no issues with frame rates, with things dropping in and out. It feels really, really good, plays really, really good. Again, too, when I say Doom style FPS, it does feel like a Doom shooter. It's just really fast and slick. The movement's great, and you have a lot of movement abilities too with your character, where you have your double jumps, which is really good to get if you're being swarmed, to get out of certain situations. There's a dash ability, which just comes back really, really fast. There is almost no cooldown on it, so it is really, really nice to use in every single scenario. And again, too, when you're just moving back and forth, side to side, it's really, really smooth. Again, I just encountered no issues with it. It's a very, very slick and smooth first-person shooter. And again, too, with the amazing soundtracks in the background that change every single level, it is really, really fun and good. Really, the only downsides that I can point out to this game is that the length of the game is pretty short, in all honesty. Again, it took me like 3.5-ish hours to get through, and I didn't really have too much difficulty getting through it. It is a bit of an easy game. I played this. There's 3 difficulties. There's easy mode, normal mode, and hard mode. Basically, easy mode is enemies just will take less damage to actually kill, and I think you have like 3 or 4 revives per level. The normal difficulty is, of course, normal damage that the enemies will need to take, but you only have 2 respawns available if you die per level. And then the hard mode is no respawns, and of course the enemies will do more damage and take more damage themselves. So I found with the normal difficulty, I did have to use a resurrect maybe like 3 or 4 times throughout the entire game. Twice was in the final boss fights, but it was really easy to get through. I had no trouble. So if you if you played decent amounts of any first person shooter, I feel like you'll be able to pick this one up really, really easily. Again, too, it's not too hard to get into the beat of the music, as long as, again, you have a bit of cadence to yourself. But there is a really good test system that does where at the beginning of the game, you'll have flashes on the screen and then audio cues, and it'll adjust basically the tempo and everything to how you're able to click on time with, again, the flashing that you see and the music in your ear. So it does have a really, really fair system for any type of player. But yeah, no, it was just really quick to get through. I found the story too, in terms of like its lore and everything, was kind of cool the way it built it up. There's some like hand drawn cutscenes in between each level, and then the animation style itself is actually really, really good. It looks great, this game, and when it actually gets into, well, even to the hand drawn illustrations for the cutscenes are really, really pretty. But when you get into the game, it actually looks really, really good, and it doesn't look dated at all. Looks great, feels great, sounds great. And the story, unfortunately, really kicks in kind of like when you get to the last level of the game. A lot of it is just L trying to stop you in the cutscenes. Oh, what are they going to do this level? What are they going to do this level? What are they going to do this level? But then it actually has a really good ending to it that sets up a potential sequel that I would love to see, as long as they can make it a little bit longer. But it's by the end, it actually had a really cool story with, I found, actually a good twist near the end of it. So in terms of the story, again, a little slow to get through, but when you get to the end of it, it's when it actually really gets into the story. Unfortunately, it only gets into the then. It's a really, really good ending. One thing that I found too is there is actually really good enemy variety in this game that really force you to play different ways depending on the situations you get in. The level design is absolutely amazing, and everything switches up quite a bit. You'll have your long spiral staircases where you're having to shoot enemies as you go up. There's some basically red floating items that act as red barrels in games. You can shoot those and take out big hordes of enemies. But again, level design really plays to the fact of keeping you on your toes, keeping everything fresh, as well with the enemy design, where there is a lot of different enemies that are going to approach you in different ways. And especially when you get some of these enemies when in a bit of a bigger horde, it definitely forces you to play a lot differently, maybe keep a little more distance, and not going guns blazing, because that's not going to work in every situation, even if you're really good at keeping a beat with the music. It definitely forces you to, again, sometimes stop, wait till you can get the beat of the music again from a distance, and then go back at it and knock down your enemies really, really nicely. I found the only time the enemy variety wasn't anything special was for the boss battles of this game, where there is one at the end of every single stage, except for the tutorial. But there's one at the end of every single stage, but all of them are more or less the same. They might have just one tiny little element that makes them different from one another, but the design and again, mostly just, again, how you take down the bosses are exactly the same until the final boss fight, which is actually very difficult. It was easily the most difficult section of the game, where it just throws what seemed like everything at you all at once. So the difficulty curve on it is quite a little bit high, but it was a very, very good boss fights. I just wish that there was a lot more variety to these boss fights, and again, feeling like you're fighting the exact same enemy the entire time. Even to, there's one joke that the narrator of this game makes, where you're approaching, I think it was the third or fourth boss, and it's like, I bet you can guess who like you're gonna be, who's gonna be waiting at the top here. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, obviously. So I guess like a little self-aware in that joke, but I wish again that they would have been able to do just different boss fights throughout the entirety of this game. But yeah, one thing definitely to keep an eye on is when you're in the gameplay of this, there is kind of like glory kills in Doom. When you knock an enemy down enough, and if you're playing on keyboard, you'll have like a little light animation that goes throughout their entire body, and if you get close to them enough, if you press E, again, on beat to the music, if it's not on beat to the music, your character won't be able to do the move, but it's essentially like a glory kill, and it'll drop health. So throughout the game, you will find different weapons that you can take on the walls, and there'll be little green crystals on the wall that'll give you health. But if you kill the enemy in this animation, they'll drop health. So if you find that you're out of these green crystals on the walls or you don't want to use them yet, because those ones will almost heal your health fully, where these ones from killing enemies, depending on the type of enemy you kill, of course, the more boss-like they are, the harder they are to kill, they'll drop more health, but they'll do at least like a third of your health back up on the normal modes to, again, just regain your health. So you definitely want to be doing those and keeping an eye on your health through the entirety of this game, because sometimes, yeah, you can get swarmed or take a big hit from some of the bigger enemies like the angels, who will do a lot of damage if they hit you with some of their attacks. So that's definitely something to keep your eyes on through this game. And again, to just keep you on your toes. It was a very, very well designed, level wise, map wise, and gameplay wise. So really, with everything taken together, I really, really enjoyed this game. I'm gonna have to give it a 7.5 out of 10 overall. I definitely recommend it to anyone who's in first-person shooters, especially if you like metal music. This is something to get you into games or just first-person shooters, because it's just awesome. I really like the rhythm style that you have to keep on beats and do more damage that way. It was something really fun and something I've actually never played before. So I'd love to see more styles of this game, to different types of music or to more metal. I find it works really, really well with the metal. It probably could too with, again, the Doom style electronic music. I would love to see that. It was just a really fun elements to play around, and I never got tired of it at any point. So yeah, I do highly recommend this one. I just, again, wish it was a little bit longer and wish there was a little more variety to the boss fights. But yes, if you played Metal Hellsinger, please let me know what you thought about it in the comments down below. And if you like this review, definitely give it a thumbs up, and you can check out everything I do on my channel. I'll link some playlists up top here for convenience sake. Thank you for subscribing and turn that little ringer on so you know when I upload new videos. If you want to check out everything I do live stream, Twitch wise, or if you go to the description of this video and my channel bio, there's a link to my Twitch and the Media Mountain, which is my Discord, where we talk about movies, video games, comic books, TV, pretty much everything that's awesome in this world. So yeah, just join that amazing community. I'll make it even more amazing than it is already. And yeah, just awesome, guys.
Sky blue eyes, I see a world behind them. No more time sinking into the side.